Sonic Adventure 2 came out for the Dreamcast in 2001, and it was the second most explosive thing to happen that year. Actually, a lot of fucking insanely good games came out in 2001, including Metal Gear Solid 2 and Silent Hill 2. If you include Sonic Adventure 2 here, you have the holy trinity of video games with the number 2 in the title that everybody on this fucking website makes videos about. I love Sonic Adventure 2, but before I really get to talking about it, I guess I should mention that it can be kind of overwhelming to pick out the best way to play it in current year. I grew up playing Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on the GameCube, but that version of the game honestly has a lot of issues, specifically with its cutscenes. Amy's cross-eyed in half of them, the lighting is kind of fucked up, Shadow and Sonic jerk each other off, but the GameCube version had a bunch of extra gameplay tweaks and other cool features, so it's still a great way to play the game, even if overall I think the Dreamcast version looks considerably better and the cutscenes are less broken. The main problem with the GameCube version's cutscenes is that it has insanely out-of-sync audio for the dialogue, so you'll have characters interrupting each other or not finishing their lines properly and stuff, but it's not nearly as bad a port as Sonic Adventure DX, so I'm not really gonna bother getting into this shit in great detail. The Steam version of Sonic Adventure 2 is a port of the GameCube version, but it has its own issues. Thankfully, the modding community has made it fairly easy to fix all this shit yourself. So what you're gonna be seeing me play in this video is the Steam version of SA2 with a few mods to make it look like the Dreamcast version while fixing a few PC port related gameplay issues like broken rail grinding. I also forced the aspect ratio to 4:3 because that's how it was in the original game, but you can play this shit in widescreen if you want. I'll post a link to the Sonic Adventure 2 mod hub on Game Banana where I downloaded all this shit, so if you want to try playing Sonic Adventure 2 on Steam, you can too with relative ease. You can even download mods to do stuff like play as characters that aren't actually in the game, or make Rouge's tits even fatter than they already are. But yeah, I've never actually played the Dreamcast version of Sonic Adventure 2 before, believe it or not. So I'm looking forward to trying out this version of the game with the cutscenes that look better and have fixed audio sync and stuff. Some of the cutscenes are gonna look a little off to me, like the gun military actually getting through their lines before Sonic goes, "Not again."
Don't move! Stay where you are! Keep your hands up in the air!
Not again.
I'll just try to get used to it. This is all such minor shit, really, but I do want anyone that hasn't played this game before to really want to play it themselves after watching the video. So presenting it to look nice, the same way that you'd go take a shower and shave to meet your girlfriend's parents, is kind of what I'm going for here. I didn't install any mods that seriously change up the game in any way, just going for as vanilla an experience as possible here while still looking as nice as possible. And if you do end up wanting to play this game yourself, which I hope you do, I do overall recommend buying the Steam release if it appeals to you. It's a great value, shit is fully priced at $10, and dude, honestly, one of the best video games of all time for $10 is crazy. If you luck out and go to buy it during one of the big Steam sales or something, you can cop this shit for like $2.50, and I promise you that's the best $2.50 you're ever gonna spend in your life. I'm so happy it's so cheap when they're still selling shit like Generations and Lost World for fucking $20 and $30 respectively. It's like they forgot how to be greedy when this shit dropped in 2012 or something. And if you're a stubborn asshole and don't want to fuck with modding at all, you can still play the PC port straight out of the box on most machines or just emulate this shit, GameCube or Dreamcast version, it doesn't matter. My first exposure to Sonic was pretty early on in my life, and I was immediately captivated by this fucking series, man. It wormed its way deep into my brain, and it's never ever left, and it will never ever leave. My first game was Sonic Advance 2, and I loved the attitude and personality showcased in the sprites and character animations on the menus and cutscenes and stuff. It was one of my favorite games on the Game Boy Advance, and when I finally got to play Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 on the GameCube, I loved them even more. Seeing Sonic in both 3D and 2D like this really helped me develop an understanding of the character in a lot of quaint little ways, just from his facial expressions and animations and stuff. Sonic's kind of like Bugs Bunny, right? Like, he's the good guy, you're rooting for him and shit. You know that he's here to save the day and he's the hero and shit, but he's also kind of an asshole. He's got an edge. His cool, whatever bozo attitude is always present, even when he's doing heroic shit. I fucking loved that as a kid, it's awesome. If Mario is like Mickey Mouse, this inoffensive, lawful good character developed in a laboratory by the Nintendo Puritan overlords specifically to be as appealing to as many little kids as possible, Sonic is the snide, slightly less well-mannered, but still very lovable Bugs Bunny. Sonic has no problem telling the bad guy to go to hell or suck his balls. Mario would never say that. Oh shit! And you all already know about how Sonic was created as a direct response to Mario, right? It's interesting to see how the character has gone from being counterculture to just culture over time. Despite how middling some of his games might be, he's never gonna go anywhere. Sonic's always gonna be there. And with the movies being smash hit successes now, that's just cemented him as being an entertainment staple for a whole new generation of children, which I won't lie, makes me really happy. But anyway, Sonic Adventure was one of the most ambitious video games Sonic Team ever made, and I'm still impressed and amazed at how much fun this game ended up being. Its scope is still really impressive for its time, and it honestly does an awesome job taking Sonic's core 2D gameplay and putting it in a fun, compelling 3D space. I really respect this game for not just being another Crash Bandicoot or Mario 64 or whatever. It's really commendable to me that Sonic Team was like, yeah, those games are nice and stuff, but we're gonna make this game bigger and bolder. They really wanted this to be a vast cinematic experience. The hub areas like Station Square and Angel Island are small, and maybe not all that much to get an erection at now, but for 1998, a mere year after Mario 64 had come out, I think this shit still deserves its props, so I'm gonna give it to it. Even with all of its little quirks and goofy parts. Everybody and their mother loves to talk about Sonic never being good, or Sonic having a rough transition to whatever the fuck. But dude, this game has so much soul. All they fucking had was this shit to base an entire story and setting, and fully lived in 3D world on, and they knocked it out of the fucking park. I love that Yuji Naka and everybody else on the dev team went to South America to get inspired for the hub areas and environments and shit for SA1. I love the multiple perspectives of the characters all being pieced together to tell the full story. I love how fucking fun Speed Highway is. I love the music, I love the characters. This game is amazing and it made a huge impact on the video game world when it came out. Love it or hate it, you cannot deny how big a deal this video game was when it came out. So damn, what the fuck do you do for the sequel? You ride that fucking high, baby, and you make it even more bombastic and insane and fun. Make Eggman playable and put him in a fucking mech. Throw a couple of edgier characters in the mix too. Fuck yeah, make more loop-de-loops, more set pieces with stuff to destroy. Give Tails a mech too. Put Knuckles in space. Just go absolutely fucking nuts with it. Yeah, alright. In my wretched double-digit IQ opinion, this is one of the greatest video games of all time. I'm gonna play this shit and talk about it. I hope you all enjoy whatever the fuck this video ends up being. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Okay, I guess I'll roll the title card now. Oh fuck, let me boot up MS Paint. I gotta make a fucking... Sonic is, or at least was, for the majority of my life, my favorite video game series ever. I think very, very highly of this series. I've put off making a video specifically about Sonic for a multitude of reasons, but primarily because I feel like Sonic gets talked about to death on YouTube, and I usually prefer to talk about shit that I feel is a little bit more neglected. But this was inevitable. The run of 3D games from Sonic Adventure 1 to Sonic 06 are all still incredibly important to me. They're some of my favorite video games, and I always really enjoy going back to them. I fell off a bit when Colors came out in 2010, but I'll talk a bit more about all that crap later on in the video, I guess. I know this introduction is super boring and disorganized so far, but let me get one small thing out of the way real quick. If you're looking for like an extended, expert level discussion on the game design and mechanics of SA2, you've come to the wrong place, because I'm not really capable of talking about that stuff in any kind of meaningful or valuable way. Sonic is a series that's enjoyed by a huge variety of people, and I think people get different things out of every Sonic game. So despite the fact that to date, this is probably the video game I have spent the most amount of my time on God's green earth playing, I'm not hitting speedrunner times on any of these levels or anything. My brain just isn't wired that way. I have absolutely no problem with people that speedrun this game, or people that have the capacity to talk in depth about momentum or speed being a reward that is earned, or whatever, but all that's just not something I really care that much about. Look, I'll do my best here, but I just like Sonic games because they're like Mario but faster and more fun, and I'm really attached to the stories and characters and stuff. I have a lot of respect for people that can talk about the mechanics of a game like Sonic and can articulate why they're so fucking good and designed in such awesome ways, but again, this is basically just going to be a video about Sonic Adventure 2 by the dumbest guy you've ever met. Look, I'm going to give it my best shot here, but there are a million videos on here that analyze and review this game a hell of a lot better than I ever could. Okay, holy shit, now that I have all of that out of the way, let's start the game up and get playing.
Yo, holy shit!
The intro cutscene of this shit immediately sets the tone for SA2. This is a grittier, edgier game than Sonic Adventure 1. The different camera angles of Sonic and Shadow zooming towards each other, this crazy music with the notch filter over the guitar whenever the character portraits come up, and it ending on that sick frame of Sonic and Shadow in front of the fucking moon. It's just an incredible way to open the game. Okay, fuck, gotta start a new file, gotta pick the story mode. Why is there a lady talking to me? Sonic Adventure 1 has 6 storylines to follow through, and while I overall enjoy the structure of that in that game, it does have a tendency to be a little repetitive at times. And I think streamlining everything to be 2 storylines with 3 characters each, jumping between their 3 perspectives, is a much more enjoyable and digestible experience. I have no qualms with Adventure 1's structure for the most part, but I'm not complaining about this change at all. I think this is just a better way to structure a game like this. I think what I'm gonna do for this video is play through Hero Story and talk about it, and then play through Dark Story and talk about it. That's the way I usually play through the game, so we'll do it that way. It's cool that you have both stories unlocked from the get-go, so if you get stuck on Aquatic Mine or something, you can just hop on a Dark Story and keep having fun. Okay. I click start on the story mode and I'm immediately hit in the face with Comic Sans. But listen, I'm a Comic Sans apologist, alright? You have to understand, if you weren't a little kid in the 90s or 2000s, you might not have experienced this. But Comic Sans was just fucking everywhere. I remember having a workbook in like 4th grade that was primarily typefaced in Comic Sans. Before it was seen as being specifically comedic or goofy, it was just another cool, fun font to use. I have no beef with it in this game, it's just of its era. Look, the only reason I bring this shit up is because every smart aleck that plays this shit loves to point at the screen and go, ho, it's Comic Sans, dude. It
looks so bad. Got real fire.
Is that Comic Sans?
Yeah, it is. It is Comic Sans. See?
What the hell?
Nearby airspace.
Why is it Comic Sans?
I don't know.
Hey man, I got you a sack of fudge there, dude. You enjoy that shit, bro. It's good shit.
Tight. I like fudge.
Everyone's biggest gripe, my own especially, should be they use fucking Comic Sans. I know it's a 1990s game.
You got that?
But are you serious?
It's fucking fine. Dare I even say it's cool. Look at how fucking good the Klonoa Works logo is. This shit is perfect. Look at Minmo. If I ever write a book and get it published, I'm gonna make sure it's in Comic Sans just to spite all of you. Anyway, the opening of this game is a bit of a shock, even after the crazy high energy cutscene and fucking rocking music in the menu and shit. Sonic's been arrested by the military for some reason and we're aboard one of their helicopters before he goes, "This sucks guys, bye." And we spend the entire first level as a wanted criminal. I don't know if I have enough time in my stupid dipshit life to talk about how good City Escape is as a level, but I'll give it a go. Sonic Adventure 1 opens up with a boss fight with Chaos Zero, and I think the reason they open the game that way is to give you a sense of intrigue and to enhance the overall spectacle of controlling Sonic in a 3D space. But it's a little disorienting because the gameplay is so different from what you're actually going to be experiencing for most of the game. Like the camera's locked and you're stuck in this little area. I think they execute the same idea basically perfectly in SA2, with Sonic riding down the sloped streets using a hunk of the helicopter as a snowboard. I really love this concept both as a gameplay idea and narratively. Sonic would jump out of a fucking helicopter. Risk means nothing to him. This section is short, sweet, and fun to play, with you being able to move side to side and also jump off of ramps to get items and go even faster. But I also hate that if you hit one of the cars, they all fly into the air and crash into each other and shit. This bothered me as a kid because what if there were little kids in the cars going to school or something? Sonic would not hurt a child, so I always try to avoid the cars in this level when I'm speeding down. Accidents do happen though, I'm sorry. Also, this part of the level is kind of annoying because the metal is just scraping across the concrete like the whole fucking time, but it's also okay because it only lasts like 30 seconds. If anything, I should be grateful that the game is showing off how bad some of its audio mixing is from the start because I've also got to mention how cool it is that a lot of the music and the levels in this game just straight up have like lyrics, vocal performances, like they're real ass songs. I'm gonna try to refrain from talking about it too much here because I'm definitely gonna have to dedicate a later section of the video to talking about the music specifically, but fuck me dude, City Escape's music is so good. It's such a catchy song and the lyrics perfectly align with Sonic's whole deal. You can totally believe that this is the shit he's thinking in his head while he's running away from the military.
Attention all units. Suspect seen heading south. Block all major roads and capture the suspect.
The opening bass line and that perfectly timed guitar hit when Sonic hits the ground running, or sliding, paired with the police radio chatter all at once, it's just a perfect video game moment. Maybe the perfect video game moment. Okay, one last fucking thing before I move on to the post-snowboard part of this level. This is just something stupid that maybe 3 or 4 of you will find interesting, but if you're familiar with Mark Kozelek and his various bands and musical projects, including like, you know, Red House Painters and Sun Kill Moon, then you've probably at least seen this album cover in passing. The album is called Down Colorful Hill, and the thing about this album is that the colorful hill that Marky Mark is referencing is San Francisco's Nob Hill, which is, you guessed it, it's the very same Nob Hill that City Escape is fucking modeled after, with its steep ass slopes and the trolleys in the middle of the street and everything. Look, if you've listened to this album before, then you understand why I think this is so funny. It's a huge downer, and Mr. Kozelek is one of the most miserable assholes in history. These lyrics about suicide and failing to experience love aren't exactly the type of thing you'd normally associate with Sonic Adventure. I just thought this was mildly interesting and maybe informative to any potential viewers out there that like both slowcore and Sonic the Hedgehog. It's kind of ironic, yeah? Look, if I wanted to get really philosophical here, maybe I'd mention that it's kind of a beautiful thing that one location can have profoundly different effects on different artists. To Mr. Kozelek, Nob Hill was a prison, a hellscape. To Takashi Iizuka, it was a wonderland, a theme park, a glorified slide for children to ride down at breakneck speeds. I just find that to be kind of fascinating and interesting, I guess. And look, it's not like there aren't sloped streets in Japan. I think that people are just naturally fascinated by foreign countries. We do this shit with Japan and they do it with us. I think that's really cool and special. Also, the snowboard part of the level has these slopes that you can jump off of, and if you're going fast enough, you can gain a lot of speed and do cool tricks off of them. You can even get bonus items if you execute this properly, and it feels amazing. Conversely, if you fuck up the timing of the jump off the slope, you will lose the speed you had going, and it's the most blue-ballsing feeling in the universe. Anyway, after we politely move around this trolley in our way, we ditch our makeshift board, and now we're given full control of Sonic's moveset. We can now freely move around, jump, homing attack, spin dash, and somersault. I like that all the robot designs in this game vary quite a bit depending on their faction. Like, as a dumbass little kid, you might just assume all of the robots are Dr. Robotnik's because that's all you know, and maybe you're not really paying attention to the cutscenes or story or whatever. But the robots in City Escape are standard combat robots deployed by GUN, which stands for Guardian Unit of Nations, which is basically the Sonic Universe's version of the United States military. And they're also kinda like NATO. They're both the National Defense Forces of the United Federation, which is the Sonic World's equivalent to the USA, while simultaneously being an international military and security organization. It's not that important, they're the fucking feds, that's all that matters. The point is that they're chasing us and they have combat robots like these and others. It's interesting that Eggman isn't the only one with advanced tech. This is a sticking point for a lot of people, by the way, but I kinda dig that SA2 makes leaps and bounds in exploring the actual world that Sonic and his crew live in. I've never been the type of person to be bothered by Sonic interacting with people and stuff. I do think that they portray them a lot better in SA1, they're more stylized, they look like anime characters, while in this game, in Shadow and 06, they go for a level of realism that's a little off-putting. But the concept of Sonic interacting with people is something that I really like a lot, actually. We're pretty early on in this video, so I'm trying to keep all the mopey, eye-patch wolfy emotional stuff at bay for now. But that episode of Sonic X, where Sonic just wants to spend the day with this little girl in a wheelchair because her parents are shitty and neglectful, it still, like, makes me tear up sometimes.
Don't cry, Helen. You're all right now.
Sorry, it's just that, well, I feel so alive. I never thought somebody like me could have such an adventure.
It's the sweetest shit I've ever seen in my life. I just kind of think Sonic is the perfect best friend for a human being to have, especially a lonely one, especially a lonely kid. It meant a lot to me when I was younger, and it still means a lot to me. The first adventure game introduced this cool wall running mechanic, and it's still present here in the sequel. It gives you this little stretch here to practice running up walls that have slopes, and you even get a little item capsule as a reward if you pull it off properly. This is never really essential to get through any of the levels or anything, but it's just a fun little thing you can do. Adventure 1 has a lot of little moments where you can play with the level's geometry to pull off skips and stuff, and while Sonic Adventure 2's design doesn't really take advantage of this in any places in particular, it's still a fun game to roll around and run around in. Once you get to this part, you might notice this tire sitting here. Sonic Adventure 2's levels have a lot of objects like this that you can just pick up and throw, and they're funny, but I see a lot of people ask why they're in the game. I think the idea is to get the player used to having Sonic interact with objects, so later on when you have to pick up keys and put them in these lock mechanisms in the pyramid level, it's not like a surprise at all. It's all still not really necessary or anything because the game just shows you a button prompt whenever Sonic's standing in front of an object that he can interact with anyway. You can even pick up and throw Omochao, but don't do that. That's not nice. Omochao's a polite little guy. I appreciate that his tutorial messages don't take control away from you. Even if you accidentally run into him to activate his little helpful hints or whatever, you can still keep playing the game. This is the perfect way to design tutorial messages like this, I think. I've played this shit a million times, so I don't have to ask Omochao for help, but I have no problem with the little guy. At least until Heroes came out a few years after this game, and he makes Amy stop every 10 seconds to explain how to do basic shit like jump or put on a training bra. City Escape has some parts in it that give Sonic a lot of options for progression, like this little area here. You can obviously run up these stairs over here if you've never played a video game before and you're afraid of the bottomless pit, or you can jump up these weird floating platforms, or you can homing attack the ring capsule, or if you don't give a shit about any of this, you can just skip it all entirely. I appreciate that this game still is primarily a platformer, and running through these levels is fun and feels like Sonic was designed to explore 3D spaces. I just poked fun at Heroes a second ago, but despite that game and Shadow the Hedgehog having a much faster top speed for the characters you play as in them, they're still platformers and exploration is like a fucking option in those games. This is the main problem I have with the later games in the series. They don't feel like they're designed for people to do anything in them other than get through the levels as fast as possible. And while I completely get why people are into that, especially if they're the type of person that has made Sonic 3 their bitch and can speed through it in half an hour, I much prefer when Sonic games allow you to ironically slow down and smell the roses a little bit. Oh, now we're moving down sloped hills and we can jump off these ramps again with the same idea that we had when we were on the board. If we time our A press correctly, we can get some items, and if we fuck it up, we'll never reach orgasm again. There's this really exciting part right here where there's 3 ramps in a row. The first one lines Sonic up perfectly with the next 2 on the corner, and if we hit the second and third ramp in perfect succession, we're gifted a ring magnet item and a bunch of rings to suck up with it. The camera angle even changes here to show Sonic flying through the rings. Sometimes while Sonic is in a state like this, either flying through the air or running around a loop-de-loop or something, the camera will break the rules just to make the moment as cool and memorable as possible. One of the best ones is in this very level with this loop that ends up going down a big ass building with the camera right in Sonic's face and shit. I really like this moment every time I play the level, it's fun. Once we get near the end of City Escape, we get chased by this giant ass military truck and the camera angle shifts in front of Sonic again. A lot of games like to do this gimmick where the character you're playing as gets chased by something, but I always think it's really cool because I'm stupid. Whoa, I'm running towards the camera. Holy shit. If you're playing this level for the first time, you're probably gonna fuck up jumping off of these ramps because they're really easy to miss. But going back to this level later and getting the timing right on these is the actual most rewarding feeling of all time. This motherfucker is driving so insanely fast trying to catch this hedgehog. It's so goofy. Why the fuck are they even doing this?
What did I do?
I really love that the characters will talk about whatever they're thinking about and whatever part of the story that they're in if you stay idle long enough. It's a really cute little touch. Another cute thing is that if you quit the game to go back to the main menu to like take a break or whatever, when you come back to play the story mode again, you'll get these little intro scenes with whatever character you're about to play as, with a little narration over scrolling text. The one for City Escape might not be seen by most people because generally if you're fucking starting the game to play it, you're not going to immediately quit out of City Escape. Unless there's like some kind of emergency. Oh my god, my boss got impaled by a harpoon. I guess I've got to pause the game and go back to the main menu and then make sure I hide the harpoon gun I rented over the weekend. Okay, now that I'm back, let's resume playing this level in this video game. Oh my god, Sonic is talking to me. I think this feature would be really helpful in a lot of JRPGs. There was a Pokemon game that kind of did this if I remember correctly. I'll check later when I'm editing this shit. Thanks, editing Lute. Okay, wow, dude, I was just trying to thank you for your fucking easy-ass surface level research. You go fuck yourself. I'll fucking kill you, you stupid asshole. Narrating is way harder than editing. I've been sitting here for like an hour. Stop changing my voice to sound stupid. Everybody in the comments is gonna call me gay now, and it's your fault. I fucking hate you so much. I wish you'd fucking kill yourself already. The military is caught up with Sonic. They've got a guy in a big walker mech trying to take him down now. This is a pretty fun first boss fight, and what we're supposed to do is wait for him to finish flying around so we can attack him. But it's insanely easy to just bully him even while he's in the air.
This is Spider Troop Bigfoot. Bigfoot to headquarters. Over. We've engaged the enemy and request just one hedgehog.
Hey, guy. Take care.
This is gonna be one of the least original comments on Sonic's character ever, but I never get tired of how smug he is all the time. I never quite get enough of how much of an asshole he can be. I love how much personality all of these characters have a lot. It's the main reason I've been obsessed with this fucking stupid series for my entire life.
Still, how can a plank like that just float?
That's easy to explain. According to the Cutter-Joukowski lift theorem, the control surface flow is balanced by the inverse kinetics of the—
Stop! I get it, okay? It just floats, and that's good enough for me.
Sonic always has some kind of witty retort. He's never really ever knocked off balance. So his first interaction with Shadow, this new character, is all the more interesting.
What?
It all starts with this. A jewel containing the ultimate power.
That's the Chaos Emerald! Now I know what's going on. The military has mistaken me for the likes of you. So, where do you think you're going with that emerald? Say something, you fake hedgehog!
Chaos Control!
Wow, he's fast! Hey, it's not his speed. He must be using the Chaos Emerald to warp.
My name is Shadow. I'm the world's ultimate life form. There's no time for games. Farewell!
Shadow, what is he?
Buster ass cop is fucking with me because I'm checking his ass.
He's kind of shaken at the idea of a guy that's just as fast as him, but he immediately writes it off as the power of the Chaos Emerald that he's holding. Because of course he does. His entire internal resolution for this guy's existence is that he's a fake version of him, which is really funny. To be perfectly fair to Sonic, once he realizes that this is the guy that the military are actually after, this is a perfectly understandable conclusion to come to. And I always hear a lot of dumb shit saying stuff like, how could anybody confuse Shadow and Sonic? They look nothing alike. But come on, I distinctly remember when this game came out, everybody was calling Shadow Evil Sonic because they look alike. Call it racism, speciesism, ignorance, whatever. The average Joe Blow schmo is gonna see the footage on their TV and go, wow, I guess Sonic's evil now. It may be obvious to us that they're two different characters, but the shit isn't that hard to comprehend. Anyway, I guess I should talk about the voice acting in this game. I like it a lot overall. I think that the returning voice actors from Adventure 1 sound a bit more natural here, and the new voices are all pretty fine too. Lonnie Minella does a good job as Rouge, David Humphrey does a good job as Shadow, and Ryan Drummond is a really solid Sonic. I've always kind of preferred Jason Griffith's Sonic voice, if I'm being completely honest with you, and over time it's become pretty obvious that he's still got it, while unfortunately Mr. Drummond doesn't really.
Hey Iowa, this is Sonic the Hedgehog. Alright!
But these guys all do fine in this game. Some people get so fucking mad when you don't say that the first iteration of this voice acting cast is God's gift to video game voice acting. They're fine and I like them, but who gives a shit if a different guy voices Sonic? I don't even mind the latest guy, Roger Craig Smith. I think he does a fine job. I'm much more interested in whether or not the writing is good and fitting of the characters versus which underpaid peon they decided to throw in the recording booth. Anyway, there's no need to start flame wars over this shit. It's so stupid. Sorry, not flame wars. It's called discourse now. I fucking hate the new internet. You can't even jokingly tell people to kill themselves anymore without the simulation spawning 100 autistic 15-year-olds to run at you like the suicide bombers in Serious Sam. I really love that this era of Sonic games always takes a lot of time to focus on Sonic's friends over just him by himself. I think that Sonic has a really awesome cast of characters. They're all compelling and interesting in their own ways, and their designs all kick ass. Even characters that kind of serve minor roles in the series, like the Chaotix or Big the Cat or Blaze and Silver, all have iconic, memorable designs. They're all really cool. We're given a look at what Knuckles is up to immediately after Sonic gets arrested. This new character Rouge shows up to harass Knuckles about letting her take the Master Emerald because jewels are her special interest or something. And Knuckles is just like, no, bitch. Rouge is a really funny character. She doesn't really have any backstory, and this is her first appearance, but I like to think that this isn't the first time she and Knuckles have butt heads like this. Her whole deal is that she loves jewels and shiny things and looks all over the world collecting them. She's like fucking Wario. I know that she's sexy and smooth, I know that's a big intentional part of her character and shit, but she's also just this goofy weird girl that shows up just to go, please can I have just a crumb of jewels, please, just a crumb. She spends half of her time in this game actively being a nuisance to Knuckles. Eggman shows up and Knuckles initiates the oh fuck protocol to shatter the Master Emerald into pieces and they scatter all over the place. This is what his whole deal is in this game. All of his levels are based on him hunting down the lost pieces of the Master Emerald.
I despise anyone who takes jewels from me. All the world's gems are mine to keep.
Yeah, we'll see about that, Batgirl.
Wild Canyon is a fantastic first level for Knuckles. It's not too big so you don't get lost, but it has a lot of places to explore and search. People complain that the Emerald Shard radar only shows one emerald at a time, no matter how close you are to the others. The reason they complain about this is because in Adventure 1 it would show you all of the Emerald Shards at once when you got close. But I think it encourages you to explore the levels in more depth and become more intimately familiar with them when you're forced to find the shards one at a time. The game wants you to fucking engage with it instead of just flying around blindly and following the blips while barely paying attention to Knuckles. I think overall the levels are a lot more fun in Adventure 2, and it's because these levels are all wholly unique to Knuckles. They aren't just modified versions of Sonic stages. It also feels fucking amazing if you end up finding another jewel fragment without the help of the radar. You even get more points for this if I'm not mistaken. Knuckles feels great to control in this game too. He moves a bit slower than Sonic, and overall has a lot less options for moving around, but he still gains a lot of speed if you're wanting to build it up. And blasting through government robots quickly kicks ass in a way that feels distinct from Sonic's gameplay style. Also, fuck, I don't mean to get sidetracked by the music again, but Knuckles levels all have rap songs produced by Tomoya Otani and featuring the vocals and lyrics of Hunted P.
Wild Canyon fun, I gotta chase a bat, huh? Yeah, Rouge, she's sexy and smooth.
My friend told me that when he was growing up and played this game for the first time, he had his friend from school with him at his house. When he first got to this level, his friend turned to him and went, dude, this is the kind of music that guys with girlfriends listen to. And I just think that's really funny. I had the same reaction listening to the Evergrey soundtrack for the first time. The production on the Wild Canyon beat and all of the Knuckles levels are amazing. Tomoya Otani did an incredible job, and I love that the Wild Canyon instrumental specifically features some sounds that are reminiscent of the Genesis games. Okay, let's see what Tails is up to.
There's no mistake about it. This must be the island. It's a secret military base that is reinforced and super strong. It's called Prison Island. I heard the news about it on satellite TV.
I appreciate Tails taking the time to explain to us through the TV screen that he heard about Prison Island on the dark web and that he's planning on busting Sonic out. Damn, Eggman is really moving in this game. He went from fucking with Knuckles and the Master Emerald a second ago to holding Amy at gunpoint. The good doctor is finally fucking snapped.
I have to help Amy because she's in danger. Tornado transformation!
Our first fight with Eggman is over pretty fast, and it gives us a brief moment to get used to the mech gameplay in this game. It's kinda similar to Gamma's gameplay in Sonic Adventure 1, but it's quite a bit slower. You can't change directions as fast, which is understandable. I don't think they wanted you to feel like a robot as much as like a little boy or Theodore Roosevelt piloting a big, heavy, powerful fucking mech.
This time I'll let you go, but the next time we meet, you won't be so lucky.
Wow, Tails, you did it! But what are you doing here on this island?
Oh hey Amy, I heard they had a Barnes & Noble here, so I'm here. What do you fucking think I'm here for? I'm here to break our friend Sonic out of prison with my giant fucking robot. Prison Lane is a decent introduction to the mech gameplay. You've got to hold down the fire button and lock onto as many enemies as possible by touching them with your line of sight before you release the button and fire off a bunch of shots in a row that hit all of them. This is generally a lot of fun, but sometimes, especially when you're first trying the game out, you're gonna panic when the enemies start flying towards you and just spam the fire buttons so you can just clear them out as fast as possible. And it just kind of feels bad to not get as many points as you could be getting. By the end of the game, I think you'll have basically mastered maneuvering around in the mechs and wringing the most points as you possibly can out of all the enemies. But yeah, Prison Lane very cleverly conditions you to want to lock onto as many enemies as possible by locking progression through these cell doors behind the destruction of these enemies that are just hanging out behind them, so you can't just sleepwalk through the level. You have to look at everything around you. Eggman's first level does this in a similar way by making you lock onto all of the weak points on these security doors in order to open them. But it's different enough from Tails' pseudo-tutorial that it still feels fresh enough even when playing through the game one story at a time like we're doing here. I think I've got to give Sonic Team credit here. It's hard to design levels that are both this easy and this fun to play through, but they did a really good job in my opinion.
Huh? Amy?
Shh. Keep your voice down. Have no fear. Amy Rose is here.
How'd you get here?
Amy shows up to bust Sonic out of prison and he doesn't even say thank you or anything. It's so fucking funny. Amy served kind of an important role in Adventure 1, but she gets shafted hard in this game to a comedic degree. And not shafted in the way that she'd like either. By Sonic Shaft. His shot is crazy good. It looks like that fucked up gif from Sonic Underground where Knuckles is tiny. Anyway, coming up is Metal Harbor, right after this short commercial break.
Fuck that shit! Whoop whoop!
Metal Harbor, baby. This level kicks fucking ass. We're out of our jail cell, the Clintons are nowhere to be seen, and there's lots of rails to grind and rings to get, fucking enemies to smash up, dildos to shove up our ass. This level gives us the light dash ability that was first introduced in Sonic Adventure 1, but it's executed in a much cooler way in this game. There's no need to wait for your spin dash to charge up, you just hit the B button in front of a trail of rings and you whoop right through them. It's one of the best abilities Sonic gets. It's always fun and satisfying to use. They knew how hard they were cooking with this shit too, because they kept it in Heroes and Shadow, and yeah, even in 06.
Yeah, this is one of the few games I actually own a physical copy of. Still right, what the fuck?
Although in that game it looks like Sonic's cock is magnetized to the rings for some reason. But yeah, in this game it's genuinely perfect. It feels so good to perform every time, and chaining together trails of rings that are placed near each other is really fun. Compared to City Escape, there are a lot of places to fall to our deaths. I think the overall surface area of ground that you can run safely on is on a slight decline throughout the rest of the levels in the game, until the last Sonic level where it's basically all in the air with rails and shit. I feel like it's a pretty easy way to ramp up the difficulty as the game goes on. It's simple, but it's smart. There's lots of places to fall down like this in real life, too, if you live in Florida. Metal Harbor's backing music rocks. It's got the most ska energy out of all of Sonic's themes in this game. It's the horns, I think. Really makes you want to put on a fedora and checkered Vans and post online about how all music made after 2005 is gay. The ending of this stage might be the best part of it. There's this timer that goes off while you're climbing this ramp that goes around the rocket, but because I'm really cool, I like to skip the first goal and go for the one that's even higher.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh my fucking god, that was close. I almost missed hitching a ride on this rocket that's heading out to airdrop $300 million worth of supplies and weapons to Israel. We jump off and get to play another cool board section like the beginning of City Escape, but hey, look, Sonic Team went out of their way to render a completely different snowboard texture for this. Nobody was gonna notice. I've been playing this shit for 20 fucking years and I didn't notice it until today, but they did it anyway. That's genuinely cool. This part sucks though, because I almost had an aneurysm from clenching too hard getting up to the second rocket ledge, and now I can't even hit every item container in this tunnel. How fucking embarrassing. My bragging rights are gone like tears in rain. Like beers in brain. Why the fuck did they launch a rocket anyway? What the fuck is Gun doing? Metal Harbor, more like Pearl Harbor.
Phew. So far, so good. Hey, that's...
That blue hedgehog again, of all places.
I found you.
Fucker! You fucking bitch!
Sonic and Shadow have a great cutscene here where their egos clash really hard. I love their chemistry in this game a lot. It's so fucking hilarious watching these two guys that are full of themselves in completely different ways interact with each other. I love when Shadow calls himself the ultimate life form, by the way. I think it's easily the coldest thing a person could say about themselves. It immediately sums up your whole deal. You could walk into a hiring office and just say, I am the ultimate life form, and they'll immediately give you your certs and a job as a forklift driver with a 401k. The boss fight with Shadow is pretty easy. Most of the character fights in this game are over really quickly. They're definitely a step above how brainlessly easy they are in Sonic Adventure 1, but there's still a definite weak point in this game. Whenever I think about good bosses in this game, I'm not usually thinking about the character fights. It's fine though. It's fun to hear Shadow go, I'm the coolest, right before I give him a wedgie and take his lunch money.
Do you know who I am?
I'm him. I've been him. I will continue to be him. This shit ain't nothing to me, man. This Chaos Emerald got me acting like Kanye at the dentist office. Whoa, divorce.
Green Forest is fucking awesome. The timer in the corner is way too forgiving for the length of this level, but it still does a great job adding a sense of urgency and tension to it. The music being super fast paced and high energy helps a lot too. And this level features a lot of cool parts where Sonic is swinging on vines and shit, or being propelled by springs, or doing loop-de-loops and stuff. And it all just adds to the overall spectacle a lot. It's a really exciting level. I think for some people these moments are a bit too much of a spectacle, like they act like this is the part where you put your controller down and the game plays itself or whatever, but I don't really buy it. This shit isn't The Last of Us. It's fun to watch Sonic go through damn loop-de-loops. They knew this shit as far back as Sonic 1 on the Genesis. It's just slightly bigger and feels more exaggerated here because this is a big game in 3D and shit. It never takes control away from you longer than like 4 or 5 seconds. And sometimes the camera does cool stuff to make it feel really exciting and cinematic or whatever, like I mentioned earlier. Green Forest has really cool particle effects and overall really vibrant look to it as well. I like seeing the big flowers, and the whole thing taking place on top of a big body of water is fucking sick too. It's a bit longer than Metal Harbor as well, and this stretch of the game is definitely a high point for having 2 Sonic levels back to back like this. You're still glowing from how fun this shit is by the time the cutscene rolls around showing Sonic, Amy, and Tails escaping the island, and your brain is probably firing off endorphins by the time it loads in the next Knuckles level. Now, let me be clear. I know a lot of people's opinions vary on the levels and various gameplay styles in these games, but I 100% love playing as Tails and Knuckles. I hate whenever YouTubers or whatever go, Sonic Adventure 2 is only 33% fun because only the Sonic and Shadow levels are good, and the other 66% is doo-doo garbage water. I just think that shit's fucking stupid. The whole game is fun, and every level is safely under the net of cool 3D platformer video game. It's not like Sonic Team are sitting you down and making you solve puzzles. Oh, it's a dog. That's cute. Or watch your parents have really cringy Star Wars roleplay sex. The whole game is fun, and if you disagree with me, you're totally allowed to have your own opinion, but you are missing out. Pumpkin Hill rocks. I love that it's kinda like the spooky goth sibling of Red Mountain. It's quite a bit bigger than Wild Canyon. There's a lot more to explore here. You also find the shovel claws in this level, and much like the Lightspeed shoes, they're implemented in a much better way in this game compared to Adventure 1. You just hit the B button in the air to dig into the ground. Super simple and easy. You can dig up item containers and stuff too. Knuckles will say rats when he doesn't find anything, and hey, did anybody else growing up play this game and just think that under the ground it was just full of literal rats? Like Knuckles was just finding literally rats down there and was saying rats because he saw rats? No? Nobody else? There are multiple mountains to climb and explore with different landmarks, and getting a feel for where everything is pretty fast and easy. There's spooky ghosts hanging out around here, and a ghost train, and lots of pumpkins. Oh fuck, I'm so excited for Halloween. This year I'm gonna dress up like Sonic and go to the store and buy a bunch of those little Reese's cups shaped like pumpkins. And then I'll bring them over with me when I come over to your house. I'm gonna pour them all into your washing machine, and then I'm gonna turn it on and leave.
Citizens of Earth, lend me your ears and listen to me very carefully.
Oh no guys, look, Dr. Ivo Robotnik has officially started his crusade as an international terrorist and is trying to show everybody how big his balls are.
Now witness the beginning of the greatest empire of all time.
God, it's really fortunate that he didn't aim for a building in New York City, or this game might have fallen into some actual retroactive controversy. Honestly, it's kind of hilarious that this shit didn't release closer to 9/11 because Eggman blows up an entire island and the moon and shit. This is the first game where I feel like he's committing acts of terror that are like quantifiably comparable to real life. Like, obviously no little kid is gonna play this game and go, whoa, what if somebody blew up the moon in real life? But I want you to do me a solid and Google Project A119. The CIA obviously isn't gonna resurrect a giant water lizard demon, but blowing up the moon is still kind of on the fucking table. The human beings in this game are seriously such a downgrade from Adventure 1. Look, I wouldn't call these good, and I'm gonna risk sounding like a stupid fuck here, but at least they still feel like they kind of fit what a human being in a Sonic game should look like. You want an actual hot take here? I'll fucking take these weird, ugly people in SA2 over the hideous looking budget Pixar monsters in Sonic Unleashed. I'll take the fucking Sonic 06 asset pack NPCs over that shit. Oh man, I really like Lute's videos, but he said some stupid shit in his latest one and now I'm seriously considering unsubscribing. Okay, Tails time again. Holy fuck, there's a billboard up here with our face on it. Why is there a reward for our arrest? We're a little boy in a mech, blowing a bunch of cop cars the fuck up and we release Sonic from prison. Okay, I kinda get it now. Mission Street is probably my least favorite Tails level in this game, but there's still a lot to praise about it. I really like the environment a lot. These stretches of road with the shops on the side are a really nice touch. Maybe after the cops stop chasing us, I can buy a little suit for Tails and a hat. The main beef I have with this level, and I recognize that I probably have nobody to blame for this but myself, but this level punishes the fuck out of you for trying to get through it quickly with weird enemy placements and these assholes in these jet planes airstriking us like we're in a village in fucking Pakistan instead of whatever corner of San Francisco we're supposed to actually be in. Mission Street's kinda cool though because Tails gets the hover upgrade here. I'm chill with how this game does upgrades. The ones that are mandatory for beating the game are all given to you right before you need them, and going back to previously beaten levels to find secret ones is always fun. Tails, they're dropping an entire highway on your head. Get out of there, man.
I didn't expect the inside of the mines to be like this. This is gonna be...
Knuckles, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to speak up. It sounds like there's 16 people taking a shit in the room with you. Aquatic Mine is probably my least favorite Knuckles stage, but there's a lot to praise about it as well. I love the environmental design, and this switch throwing mechanic is fun to fuck around with. Changing the water levels to access different parts of the level make the level feel bigger than it really is. The music in this stage is probably my favorite Knuckles theme overall, too. Lyrically, it's a really introspective look at Knuckles' mindset and his exhaustion with having to fight enemies and protect the Master Emerald all the time, secretly wishing that he could just chill. The main issue with this level is that Knuckles can drown really fast, and finding the air necklace requires you to go quite a bit out of your way, and it's just a little inconvenient, but fuck man, this is still a level that I look at really fondly. It's kind of weird that Aquatic Mine has ghosts though. I thought we left Halloween Town behind already. Ghosts show up in the rest of Knuckles levels too, except for Meteor Herd as well. I don't really know why. Knuckles even gets a boss fight against a big ghost later with weird fish mouth and Skittles tongue. I just don't understand why ghosts of all things. Knuckles isn't really ever shown to be super afraid of them like Luigi or something. He raps in Pumpkin Hill in a way that makes me feel like he's a little bit unsettled by them, but it's never been a big part of Knuckles' character or anything. Is he haunted by all of his dead ancestors? Is that the angle we're going with here? I'm not trying to be a MatPat here, I just am still confused about all this shit 20 years later.
Sheesh. There always seems to be a lot of police around when you don't need them.
So fucking true, dude. Tails is hacking into the government computer system to try and track the Chaos Emeralds, but can't find them anywhere and guesses that Eggman took them into outer space.
Outer space?
Poor Amy is so out of her element here. Somebody take this girl home. She just wanted to see Sonic and now she's like, oh fuck, are we going into space? Like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles have already been up there, but she never has. This is a big deal. Knuckles shows up before Tails gets a lock on the president's location based on the radio transmission that Eggman is using to communicate with him, so he speeds off to find his limo. The kart racing gameplay in this level is a pretty fun switch up, even though it's a little janky. You've got to take your foot off the pedal for a sec to drift around corners because this thing can't turn for shit when you're hitting the gas. Look, it's not Ridge Racer or anything, but it's like fine. You can even collect a bunch of rings and do a boost, that's fun.
What the?
Eggman Empire. Yeah, right.
What the heck's going on here?
Don't worry, Mr. President. Everything's under control. Just leave it to us.
Sonic Adventure 2 is such a silly game. Tails intercepts Eggman's transmission and confirms that he is indeed in space, so we're off to find his base in the desert so we can steal one of his space shuttles and head up there ourselves to kick his ass. Tails gets to scout around first to try and find an entrance to the base in the aptly named Hidden Base. One cool thing about Mission Street that I forgot to mention earlier is that there are these bombs that you can log onto to blow up specific parts of the architecture so you can progress or change stuff up in various ways. They're utilized more in this level, and it feels cool to blow up a bunch of them at once and then watch the pillars fall down so we can use them to go forward. Hell yeah. I like the way this game gives you little point bonuses for various things. It especially feels good racking up a big combo in the Tails and Eggman levels and the game going great or radical or whatever. It's cute. I like the idea that Robotnik is such a narcissist that he can't help putting his fucking likeness all over this shit. If you were trying to stay hidden, you fucking failed, moron. Feds are all over your base. Look at this shit. Stupidest genius of all time. What the fuck is Eggman's deal in this game anyway? Like, what's with the pyramids and Egyptian shit? Was that just what he was into this week? Or do you think he did one of those 23andMe tests and found out that he's like 0.2% Egyptian? So now he's one of those white guys that dresses up like, you know, I appreciate all the cutscenes in this game. They're really dynamic and energetic and well animated compared to Adventure 1's kind of awkward cutscenes with mostly minimal stilted movement. But sometimes levels will just load in right after the other with no cutscenes in between, and I find that to be really nice too. And you can immediately tell what character you're going to be playing as with what color the logo is on the level's loading screen. Pyramid Cave is a great level made up of closed tunnel type sections and these other wide open sections that are kind of unintentionally ominous because of the infinite black space. It makes for a unique atmosphere that sticks out to me. There are these bars that Sonic can swing around on, and if you click the A button at the right time, you'll jump off, pushing you forward in the level. But watch this shit. Wow. Oh my fucking god, is that Gamma? Dude, buddy, it's good to see you. Oh, Robotnik mass-produced him. That's terrible. What a bastard. What a genuinely terrible fate for this beloved character. There are copies of Gamma in Sonic Battle too. And it's really sad that all the main characters are like, yo, Gamma, what's up? And he's just like, initiate kill sequence. Like, it's just a reanimated corpse of one of their old friends. The Sonic series is so fucking cruel to its robot characters. It's fucking insane. Like, Metal Sonic acts out in Rebellion and Sonic Heroes, and then Eggman just turns him into a husk, an avatar for himself by Rivals 2. Fucking Emerald and Gamma. The only robot that makes it out okay is Omega, but that's because he's too fucking angry to die. I love Omega. He's one of the best characters in this. I'm going off the rails again, I'm sorry. Pyramid Cave introduces the bounce bracelet, and it's another great mechanic for Sonic. It's utilized to both get to higher platforms that you can't reach otherwise, and you can also use it to destroy enemies. If you go back to City Escape, you can beat Bigfoot in 2 seconds with it. It's really great. There's this one section where you've got to take a detour to find the key and bring it back, and it's fun to take the top route with the rails and shit over there and then run along the bottom route on the way back, dodging the robots and opening the doors with the hourglasses and stuff. The hourglasses are scattered all over the level too, and the basic idea is to hit it to open a door and then haul ass to get through the door before the sand in the hourglass hits the bottom. It's never really challenging, I don't think, minus this one part where this hourglass is at the very beginning of this super long winding hallway, and these ghosts from Knuckles levels show up to give Sonic a hug like your least favorite coworker does every time you clock in. But look, I've played this shit a lot and I never really get stuck here anymore. It's a cool level overall. The music is super nice too. It's really moody, and I love that part with the steel drums.
The door's locked. We need a key to get in there.
No problem. We can find it. Right, Knuckles?
What? Why do I have to find the key?
We're counting on you, buddy. The world's greatest treasure hunter.
Death Chamber carries over the hourglass mechanic from Pyramid Cave, and I equally don't really have too much to say about it here. It's never really utilized in a way that really makes you work for it. There are these little sections in some of the walls that you can dig through to get to secret rooms. Maybe it would have been cool if you hit a switch and then dug through the wall to come out into one of the rooms on the other side and then had to scramble to make it through one of the doors or something. Maybe that would have been too complicated an idea to implement or something. I don't know. I'm dumb. This is the only level Knuckles has where he has to find something other than the pieces of the Master Emerald, but it's functionally the exact same shit. Find the 3 keys and we're in. Wow, Eggman, nice breasts. I'm gonna drink some fucking milk real quick. Death Chamber's layout can be a touch confusing. It's a deceptively large level with a lot of sections that look kind of similar but are segregated by their color. It doesn't take too long to figure it out, but it can be a bit disorienting the first time you play. It's a cool level overall though, I like it.
Huh? Who's there? What the... A ghost?
Wait. Knuckles, wait. That's not a ghost, Knuckles.
Oh man, shit.
This guy scared the shit out of me when I was a little kid because he looks like a deep sea creature. I fucking hate him with every fiber of my being. I especially hate when he does this chompy shit and chases you and gets really close. And then he bites you on the taint and laughs. I hate him. The boss fight itself is actually really great though. You've got to wait for him to use his big fire puke attack and then run behind him to hit the ghost holding the sand timer so the window will open and then the light will scare him. Once you've done that, you've got to dig him out and chase him so you can bite his taint back. You can hit him more than once if you hold the inner wall of the ring-shaped arena and use the radius to your advantage to cut him off once he speeds up. I think discovering that you could hit him more than once each turn when I was a kid made me really like this boss fight a lot more. I'm feeling a strong 8 to a light 9 on this boss fight.
Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it?
That was pretty rough.
We did it! Let's go, Amy!
Yeah! You little thieves! Did you really think you could get out of here alive?
Come and get some, Eggman!
I fucking love Eggman so much. He felt the need to come all the way back down to Earth just to wave at Sonic and make him fight a golem. It's a level of pettiness that I really admire. The fight against the Egg Golem is another super fun one too. Kinda reminds me of other boss fights in ring shapes, like a lot of the ones from Klonoa or the alien prisms in Kirby 64. Will I make it through one fucking day of my life without mentioning Kirby 64 at some point? Probably not. Please call your local congressman and ask for this YouTuber to be publicly executed. It's a much easier fight than the ghost boss. I'm not fucking saying his name, it's stupid. Fuck you. You just have to run around to the back and climb the conveniently placed stairs coming out of his bag to dunk on his head like you're a little blue basketball. That one's for fucking Kobe.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shuttle liftoff.
Engines at 65%, 3 engines running normally, 3 good fuel cells, 3 good APUs. Engines throttling up, 3 engines now at 104%.
Challenger, go and throttle up.
Oh yeah! This could be...
1 minute 15 seconds, velocity 2,900 feet per second.
Guys, it's okay. Sonic didn't die in the 1986 Challenger explosion. I was just messing around. I just thought, you know, well, what if Sonic did die in the 1986 Challenger explosion? That'd be pretty crazy, right? Okay, you may be thinking that now we're back on track. We're in the space shuttle, we're gonna find Eggman. Check out what happens though.
Is everyone alright? We should be landing soon.
The hatch doors are open. Don't sweat it, Knuckles. The only thing in the cargo bay are those Master Emeralds.
Don't sweat it.
Right?
Land the shuttle and
off,
let me out.
We're gonna crash this thing if you keep that up. Oh no! Don't touch that lever!
I love this stupid fucking game so much.
What's up with that knucklehead anyway? Trying to take over the shuttle. I thought we were toast for sure. Huh? Where did he go now?
Sonic, he left because you were being a huge dickhead to him about the Master Emerald. You know that shit is important to him, but you were literally like, it's okay, Knuckles, we didn't lose anything important. Just the thing you care the most about in the fucking universe, no biggie. Come on, dude. I really like this scene of Tails explaining what he knows about Space Colony Arc and then revealing his plan to swap the Chaos Emerald powering the Eclipse Cannon with a fake emerald. You gotta hand it to him. Engineering a fucking fake Chaos Emerald could not have been easy, but he's really come into his own by this point in the game. Tails has got a lot of tricks up his sleeve in Sonic Adventure 2. In the last Sonic Adventure game, Tails is just struggling with the idea that he's not Sonic and wishing that he was more like Sonic until he realizes that he has his own strengths and abilities. And then in this game we get to see him really take charge. It's so cool. Eternal Engine is Tails' last level, and I think it's probably my favorite one. It's a bit of a troll level, because during the entire game you've been psychologically conditioned to aim your loud fucking laser pointer at everything and blow everything the fuck up, but Eternal Engine introduces a big consequence for this. These specifically placed dynamite packs that I'll let Omochao explain to you about.
If the dynamite packs explode, the colony will be damaged. You will be sucked out into space. Remember, explosives are very bad.
I love that he felt the need to add his little opinion in there. Explosives are very bad. Fuck you, Omochao. How bad could it— oh shit, okay. That's pretty bad. So we're at an interesting point as far as the design of the level goes. You get lots of points for blowing these dynamite packs up, but then you're introducing more hazards to get fucked up by. If you're purely playing this game just to get through it and you don't care about racking up points, then maybe this won't bother you much and you might even just enjoy breezing through Eternal Engine as fast as you possibly can. But I totally adore the risk-reward game going on here. I think it's really fun to play this level either way, racking up as many points as you can and creating a super dangerous situation for yourself, or just getting through the level as fast as possible. The Space Colony Arc environmental assets are really cool too. I love being up here. That's what you get for telling me what to do, Omochao. I curse you with Hell Time Loop. I really like the verticality of some of the platforming sections outside and how you're constantly ascending through the level with these vertical zip lines or whatever they are, just to free fall at the end through these lasers before we unleash everything we have on the power supply at the end. All in all, fantastic last level for Tails. But where the fuck is Knuckles? Oh, okay, there he is. I found him, everybody. Okay, I want to talk a bit more about the music that plays in the Knuckles levels in this game. I talked about this a little bit before, but I love the songs in this game with vocals. They do an amazing job helping the player understand the motivations and attitudes and personalities of the characters in a surprisingly deep way. Knuckles has been portrayed to be kind of awkward and gullible guy in previous games, getting tricked by Eggman numerous times and shit because he's spent so much time by himself. But by this point, he's grown up a bit. He's settled into his role as being the guardian of the Master Emerald, taking it seriously while still being able to retain relationships with other people, even though they often don't make a lot of sense to him. Rouge is a strange presence to Knuckles. He's probably simultaneously attracted to her and annoyed by her, and this is expressed in the lyrics of the song.
I'm feeling her in mysterious ways. That's why I stay on point like every single day.
He doesn't want to get distracted from his honor-bound duty. She's a wild card to him, throws him off his game, but ultimately he reiterates that nothing will stop him from protecting the Master Emerald. Hunted P raps from Knuckles' perspective in every song and portrays Knuckles as someone who is fierce, driven, and focused. Knuckles introspects a bit in Aquatic Mind about how hard it is to protect the Master Emerald 24/7. And listening to this as a kid really truly made me sympathize with Knuckles. There's even a bit of narrative growth in the lyrics from his theme song in Adventure 1. He goes from being all like, I don't need anybody, out of a sense of being afraid of other people, to being thankful that his friends are here with him, and I really like the lyrics and portrayal of Knuckles here. I think it does the character justice. A lot of people talk about the music in the Knuckles stages as being like an ironic enjoyment, or like that these songs are just so goofy and wacky and silly that they laugh at them, but like, I don't really understand where this comes from. This shit is an Aesop rock, but the lyrics aren't made to be funny or a joke. They paint a genuinely well put together picture of Knuckles' psyche and perspective. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that fucking video game YouTubers of all people would listen to rap songs and go, ew, cringe, but whatever. These tracks are amazing and I still love listening to them. Hunned's vocal delivery and cadence kinda reminds me of Raekwon from Wu-Tang Clan, and I honestly think that when I was younger, Raekwon was my favorite member of that group, probably subtly because of how much I enjoyed listening to the Knuckles tunes in this game.
Ask him a question and he vanished in a second. I'm walking through valleys, crying pumpkin in the alley. Didn't seem happy, but they sure tried to get me. Had to back him up with a fist metal crackle.
I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job, had second hands. Moms bounced on old men.
Nowadays, I'd probably say I'm a Ghostface guy, but, you know, to each their own. Meteor Herd's music almost sounds triumphant. Tomoyo Otani laid out this sick fucking two-step UK garage style beat that I cannot help but tap my foot to every time I play this shit, with these beautiful airy synths and vocal samples of women singing in the background, and this insanely catchy organ bass all culminating into this fucking gorgeous sounding track. Hunted P's refrain of "don't let it hit you move, don't let it get your groove," repeating over and over again reminds you of the meteors flying in that you've got to avoid. Climbing all the way to the top of the map where the bottom of Space Colony Arc is takes a while, but it's kind of a reward in itself just because of how cool an area it is up there. The whole level's a lot of fun to explore and I never get tired of hanging out in it. It feels as fun as Pumpkin Hill to me with how open and huge it is. I love climbing all the way to the top and then diving all the way back down to ground level, breaking into a glide and just going fucking everywhere. Knuckles' Tails is way too fun to play as in this game, and Meteor Herd is a perfect reward for playing the game this long. It's amazing. Sometimes I like to try and draw a smiley face with Knuckles' footprints on the glass here. It's just fun. Somebody should mod this shit to make the footprint trail longer so I can draw more stuff. Oh, but then some of you guys would start drawing swastikas and stuff. We can't have anything nice. One last thing about the lyrics that I really like, and this is probably just me reading too much into it, but I've always loved the lyric in this stage's theme when he talks about seeing a crazy look in Eggman's face. It just always reads to me like a confirmation that he's grown past being inexperienced and gullible enough to be tricked by people like Eggman. I've just always really liked that. Incredibly insightful and cool shit coming from a guy that had like 24 hours to write and record all of these bars. Rouge shows up again to fuck with Knuckles, but he's geeking off of the natural high of how fantastic this level was, so he puts her in her place really quickly. They have a really nice cutscene after this where Rouge gives him back the shards that she collected and he apologizes for hurting her. Now that the Master Emerald is repaired, Knuckles can finally take a fucking breather. Wish we could say the same for Sonic. Eggman's got Amy and now we've got to go save her. I've always really liked Amy and it kinda sucks that you don't get to play as her in the main story of this game, but I'm happy she's still here and part of the storyline, even if it's just this Princess Peach shit towards the end. Crazy Gadget is just regular Gadget to a twisted, fucked up guy like me. It's a pretty unique stage that introduces some gravity switch mechanics and a lot of enemies for Sonic to fight. So it's not as popular as some other levels in this game, but it's a lot of fun and there are still quite a few places where you get to go really fast. There's this one part where you do the biggest light dash ever and it's fucking awesome. Get me a towel, I just came in my own eye. At the very end of the level, there are these big Tetris blocks that you've got to navigate through and these gravity switches, and it's exciting, but it's also a little frustrating if you accidentally miss one of the targets and you fly off into space. One time I was playing this shit and I thought that I would be really smart and skip everything, but then Omochow here goes, no, go back and play the level the right way. It just kind of pisses me off. The goal ring is right there, Omochow. I'm gonna strangle you, you little asshole. Eggman is like yelling at you the whole time through the walkie-talkie too, and look, I'm fucking trying, okay? You don't have to raise your voice at me, man. I'll be there soon. Those sunglasses aren't gonna save you. I'm coming in your eye next. What the fuck kind of... Why does Eggman's pistol have a scope on it? You can't really blame the designers. They don't really have guns over in Japan like we do here. This is like when they give Shadow a machine gun in his game and they make him cock it like a shotgun. They just think it looks cool, probably. And you know what? They're fucking right. It does look cool.
Right there and back off.
You've turned into a big-time villain, Doctor.
Whoa! You thought you could trick me with that fake emerald, didn't you?
So, how did you know it wasn't the real one?
Tails!
Because you just told me, Fox Boy.
I fucking love the way Sonic yells out, Tails, like that. Holy shit.
I'm counting on you, Tails. And Amy, take care of yourself.
Farewell, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Robotnik rigged the escape pod with a bomb and Sonic dies. Alright guys, thanks for watching. We did it, we beat the... okay. This scene is kind of silly, but I really love Tails' lines here.
Sonic is asking for the first time to do something for him. I won't let him down. I won't give up.
And this boss fight is actually really fucking hard, so the victory over Robotnik is just that much sweeter. I really like that Tails and Eggman are each other's antagonists in this game. I've always thought that Eggman probably fucking hates the fact that this little boy is his intellectual peer. Like, he obviously hates Sonic for fucking obvious reasons. But with Tails, it's probably like a mixture of annoyance with somebody else being on the same intellectual level as you, and also frustration at the fact that said person is a little boy. It's like if you were barely making your way through your senior year of high school and this little 10-year-old kid came in and aced all of the tests without trying, and slapped your girlfriend's ass afterwards too. I just find Eggman and Tails to be an interesting pair. I really liked the way that the DS RPG explored their relationship a bit by making them work together during a part of the story in that game. I also really like the way the music in that game sounds like a cry for help. Anyway, look, we know that Sonic isn't dead. He's fucking Sonic. Look.
I feel some strange energy.
Sonic was able to use the fake emerald Tails made to use chaos control, which is already pretty surprising and impressive because he's never done that shit before. But what's an even bigger deal here in my opinion is the fact that Tails was able to basically create a fully functional chaos emerald out of thin air. The chaos emeralds are insanely powerful and a lot of the conflict and story in this series is centered around them in some way. Everybody wants to get their hands on them. They're mysterious, ancient, and kinda unknowable, but Tails just fucking made one himself, holy shit. He's so badass in this game. His first fucking mission is breaking his best friend out of prison, not caring about ruining his own reputation. He's no longer the scared little kid in Adventure 1. He's so fucking cool. Final Rush. Okay, I almost said Final Rush makes me Final Gush, but I don't know. I feel like I make too many cum jokes. I'm just not feeling it right now. Everybody gets it. I have a deeply immature sense of humor that I use as a defense mechanism for my personality flaws and shortcomings. Shortcomings. Your mom had me shortly coming. Final Rush is so much fucking fun. Now that we have the bounce bracelet, we can use it to kind of snap onto rails quicker, and it makes the very act of grinding on rails a lot more fun. I'm not smart enough to talk about the rails in depth, but I generally like the way it feels to use them in this game, especially when they're sloped downward and you build a lot of speed on them, or on these weird platforms that you homing attack towards to boost upward. I like both of these sensations a lot, and this level is chock full of this shit, so it's just mostly great. It feels cool to be in a level this open because you always feel like you can get ahead by doing silly stuff like this, or like this. I love all the sounds of the technology and shit up here, and visually it's an awesome level reusing a lot of the assets from Meteor Herd. It's comfy in its own way. Shadow shows up to try and ruin our fun in what is probably the most interesting character fight in the game. You're both running forward on this infinite path, and we can damage Shadow by either spin dashing into him or hitting him when he's in the right spot when we do a light dash. It also feels really good to chain light dashes together here. Shadow will use chaos control to warp ahead of you every time you pass him, and that's the best opportunity to hit him most of the time. He'll deflect any homing attacks you use, and it's just a really fun boss fight overall that requires you to really pay attention, and it adequately puts your skills to the test. Cool. Sonic dunks the fake Chaos Emerald into the Eclipse Cannon to protect the Earth from getting all fucked up like the moon, and okay, fuck yeah, we're done with Hero Story. Overall, Hero Story is basically flawless to me. Pretty much every level is a lot of fun, and the story is so crazy and fast-paced, it's a blast. This game has a lot of replay value right out of the gate because you can go back to stages that you've beaten in the story on the stage select map, and I really love how it's a literal map with each stage in a different position on it. It's a really nice screen to stare at when you're replaying these levels over and over again. And there's even a fuck ton of extra missions to do in each stage, like getting 100 rings or getting through the level in a different hard mode layout. If you're a completionist, you'll have a lot of fun finishing this game, I think, after you're done scamming people. In this level select, you can also go to the Chow Garden, and fuck, I've spent a lot of time playing this game, but I have spent an ungodly amount of time in the fucking Chow Garden. This video is already turning out to be quite a bit longer than I want it to be, so I'm gonna try and force myself to be really brief here, but just understand that I fucking love the Chow Garden. When you're playing through the main game, there are these keys you can pick up and these cool glowy objects that come out of the government robots when you destroy them, called Chaos Drives. If you grab the key, you get to go to the Chow world, and you can give the Chaos Drives to upgrade your Chow's stats, each color corresponding to a different stat. The Chow are these cute little virtual pet guys that you can hang out with and pet and feed and shit, and depending on the character that you're playing as, they can follow either a hero or dark alignment, and it affects their appearance and abilities and stuff. I don't think I need to explain why this is so good or why this makes this game basically infinitely replayable. I really like the way the Hero Chow looks when you make them really good at running, so I like to run through the levels over and over again, collecting as many green Chaos Drives as possible, and giving them to my little friend. When you beat levels and missions and shit, you get emblems, and the more emblems you have, the more items you can unlock to buy in the black market, which includes more eggs that hatch into Chow. It's basically an infinite loop of fun, and it was just as compelling and rewarding an experience to me as a kid as a lot of the RPGs I loved growing up. You can make your Chow compete in races or in karate matches, you can unlock different gardens to hang out in, and they're all really comfy and cute. I'm partial to the Hero Garden personally, but all three of them are great. Okay, that's enough about the Chow Garden, but it's fucking amazing, and I adore it. If you want to learn more about the Chow Garden, Cybershell posted a really good video that goes pretty in depth about it. So let's rewind a bit. Hero Story was fucking great, but it's time to see what the fuck was going on with these guys and fill in a few blanks with the story.
Emergency battle formations. Standard battle procedures initiated. Locate and stop the intruder from entering security area. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill.
Oh fuck, Eggman has so much ruthless swag in this game. He's just shooting up this secret military base like it's nothing. He's definitely quite a bit more sinister in this game compared to some others. I think it's because he's hanging out with these guys. Like he's just dabbling with getting into goth culture and shit to impress his new edgy friends. Yeah, maybe he's thinking about buying trip pants or picking up smoking. Like he's probably listening to REM but hasn't quite discovered Bauhaus or The Cure yet. Gotta wait for Shadow to show him his last FM account. God, I fucking love REM, dude. Shitty fucking people piss their pants. Shitty fucking people piss their pants. Shitty fucking people pissing. Some of the levels in Hero Story share assets and tiles and stuff with each other, and this continues in Dark Story. I think it's super smart and still commendable that every level is completely unique to each character, even when some of the visual elements or layouts are a bit similar. It's just palpable how much work went into making this game as fun as it is. Iron Gate shares some elements with Prison Lane, but feels a lot more oppressive with more enemies and these security doors that you've got to constantly blow the fuck up to get inside. The end of the level is pretty exciting, with you having to launch a big missile into a whole hallway full of security doors, and you get to blow them all up at once. It's great.
Yosh!
Why does he say it like that?
Oh-ho! So this is the military's top secret weapon. It's a lot smaller than I expected. Enter user data. Enter password. Password is Maria. Maria. Now all I have to do is to place the Chaos Emerald into this console.
Eggman releases Shadow the Hedgehog, who is the military's top secret abandoned weapon. Before they can get super acquainted with one another, they send in another walker mech to get them, but come on, you already know how this shit's gonna go down.
He is too strong!
Shadow and Eggman are gonna gather some Chaos Emeralds and meet up on Space Colony Arc. I don't really know why he immediately tries to take the Master Emerald in the next cutscene. Maybe he thought that would really impress Shadow or something. But he immediately gives up once Knuckles smashes it up. He's not gonna bother finding that shit. Rouge, however, immediately jumps on the chance to fuck with this weird angry red guy, and we get to spend half the game finding emerald shards. Dry Lagoon is a great stage, it's so comfy. I love how lush and vibrant it is compared to how dry Wild Canyon is. There's a lot of water here and plants and even wildlife. We get to save this turtle from some assholes and he takes us to the second part of the level, kind of a replacement for the Wind Geyser in Wild Canyon. Again, I really love how this level was clearly built off of Wild Canyon but feels different and unique enough to be its own fun little experience. I love how much effort went into this shit. In Heroes, you just play the same fucking levels with every character. Hell, in most fucking video games, you just play the same levels whenever you're given the opportunity to play as different characters. But I really like how Dark Story is still its own experience mostly. It still has the same character fights and some similar parts, and overall it's a bit shorter than Hero Story, but this shit is gonna be fun. Oh my god, look, you can hitch a ride on a different turtle to swim through the current. That's so cute.
Those idiots will never find my hidden base inside this pyramid.
Eggman, they're gonna fucking find it. Everybody's gonna fucking find it. Sand Ocean isn't quite as fun as Hidden Base because it has a lot of platforming sections before you're given the hover upgrade, but it's visually super appealing, taking place at night and shit. I like the way Robotnik says yo when he jumps. It's fun. Also, you might notice that I call him both Eggman and Robotnik, and the reason for that is that I don't really have a preference. In a lot of the later games, he's just referred to as Eggman, and I like to think that that's his cool supervillain name and his FYAD forum username, but his full legal government fucking name is Ivo Robotnik. It's like an established family name. His grandfather is named Gerald Robotnik, his cousin, aunt, is named Maria Robotnik. Maria is the password he put into the computer to release Shadow. Maybe this is Foreshadowing. Whoa. Man, this base was such a stupid idea. I still have no idea what he was thinking with this shit. Like, you know he's gonna get back there and have to take his shoes off and pour all the sand out of him. That's why when he goes to check the news in the next cutscene, the animation team went out of their way to animate him scratching his ass. He's got sand in places sand shouldn't be. I'm glad they thought of this shit because it's all I was thinking about because I kept falling in the fucking sand trying to jump on these stupid moving squares.
There has been a break-in at the Federal Reserve Bank today. Mysteriously, the only thing that was stolen was the Chaos Emerald. According to eyewitnesses at the scene, the suspect was identified as the world-renowned hero, Sonic the Hedgehog. The suspect was seen fleeing the scene, destroying the reserve's guard robots in his path.
How pathetic.
Find them before they escape!
Maria! What?
Shadow, I beg of you, please,
Maria!
do it for me. For all the people on that planet. Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
I still remember what I promised you. For the people of this planet, I promise you. Revenge!
Okay, so we've seen this Shadow guy in cutscenes during Sonic's story, and we know that he was basically in a stasis pod in a government facility before Eggman woke him up, and now we know that there's something kind of wrong with him. He's only been conscious for a few hours now, and he's already stolen a Chaos Emerald, and he's muttering some shit about revenge and Maria. Alright man, let's finally play a level as Shadow the fucking Hedgehog. Shadow immediately feels familiar. He plays exactly like Sonic, but you just kind of immediately feel cool playing as him because of the way that he moves. His futuristic roller skate shoes were sick as fuck to me as a kid, and I still kind of think that it's the tightest thing ever. The way his legs move so fast when he's going down slopes and shit, and everything about his design and movements make you feel like you're playing as a very serious, determined character. This motherfucker does not eat chili dogs. I am 100% positive about that. Shadow has the determination of Sonic, but that carefree, happy-go-lucky attitude is replaced with, like, anguish and pain. You can feel it in almost every song that plays in his levels in this game. He's morose and lugubrious. Radical Highway is one of the best stages in Sonic Adventure 2. It has the exciting, oh shit, I'm causing a ruckus type atmosphere that levels like City Escape and Mission Street have, while still giving you lots of places to move quickly and skillfully through everything. Getting good at this level feels amazing. Doing shit like hitting the ramps and getting up onto the higher route of the bridge area, and just jumping off to the side to ride the Golden Gate itself to a shortcut. Or rolling into a ball while going down these huge slopes that go so fast you almost worry about fucking up and flying off the stage. Shit's divine. This is video games, everybody. You know, you'd think that Shadow would be really excited that the military is chasing a guy that looks exactly like him so he can get away, but you get the feeling that he doesn't really care one way or the other. He's completely ambivalent to everything that isn't directly part of his plan, whatever it is. Pretty interesting character right out of the gate in my opinion. I wonder if they knew how likable he was and how popular he was gonna end up being when they created him for this game. Rouge has easily followed Eggman to his secret base because she's not an idiot, and now we've got to find 3 keys to get in, much like Knuckles had to in Death Chamber. I do not enjoy Egg Quarters as much as Death Chamber, despite it being a slightly smaller level and having a less confusing layout, because it has this terrifying beetle robot that comes in and immediately wrecks your shit if it sees you. It makes this really loud beeping noise that still makes me clench my butthole when I hear it, and you can't kill it or damage it in any way. The way that you've got to deal with it is by hiding in the shadows until it goes away, and look, Thief Gold is one of my fucking favorite video games ever made, but I've never in my life thought, oh man, you know what this Sonic game needs? Stealth mechanics. You've got to commend them for the idea, and I respect it a lot, but this is probably my least favorite level in the game. I still really like the environment and art direction for the levels in the Pyramid Base, and the music is really nice though. The music that plays in Rouge's levels is this super chill bossa nova, loungy, jazzy shit. Really reflects her laid back, carefree attitude. Lots of really nice female scatting vocals in the background. I really like the music in this game for both reflecting the characters and their personalities and perspectives, and also kind of feeling like the type of shit that they would listen to in their downtime. Rouge would absolutely put on some of these tunes and hit the bong in her apartment where she hasn't taken the trash out in 2 weeks. I like that Rouge is kind of more of a mirror to Sonic than any other character in the series. She's cocky and confident and constantly wisecracking. She's effectively flawless at what she does and never shows fear or hesitation before acting. I like Rouge.
It's a space transporter. The destination has been set to Ark? Wasn't that space colony shut down over 50 years ago? What's he doing up there anyway? Doesn't matter. It's my mission to find out what he's up to.
Okay, man, you did not have to hit that fucking pose like that. You're such a diva. Oh my fucking god, she is just Girl Sonic. Lost Colony is a fucking... I say fuck so much. Lost Colony is awesome. Usually levels that take place in the dark suck in games, but this one's awesome. It has a super eerie atmosphere to it, and the music is really quiet and subdued and mysterious sounding. Really makes you feel like you're not supposed to be in here. The Ark is kind of a hostile place, even when the power isn't turned on. Shadow's waiting for Eggman in this super intimidating looking room with all this crazy tech shit flying around this computer station. He tells Eggman that there was a secret lab up here where they were making weapons of mass destruction, and he tells him that his best bet to fuck everything up and take over the world is to get all the Chaos Emeralds and put them in this thing called the Eclipse Cannon. And Eggman's pretty okay with using it to threaten the world's leaders into submission, but he shows a bit of surprise at hearing that his grandfather made something this fucked up and powerful before he died. There's a lot of little subtle things that they managed to convey with the cutscenes, even though this was a Dreamcast game, and Sonic Adventure 1's cutscenes are so rudimentary compared to this game. I love when Rouge shows up and proposes a deal with Eggman and he like looks to Shadow for approval. You never really get into Eggman's head much at all, so I love how big a part he plays in this game. They immediately get back down to Earth because Rouge says that the Chaos Emeralds are on Prison Island, and Eggman's like, alright, sure. Also, while we're at it, I'm in a really good mood, you know, I'm feeling really good about this plan. So let's fucking blow up the entire island too, that sounds fun. And these guys are just like, okay, sure. It's kind of fucking stupid, but I don't care, I'm having the time of my life. Sonic Adventure 1 is kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon. And this game, well, it's still a Saturday morning cartoon, but it's definitely also kind of more than that. I'm not saying this shit is like a film or anything, but I don't know. I find this plot to be engaging and exciting, and I clap my little hands together when Eggman says he's gonna distract the military while Rouge and Shadow do their thing, because that means we get to go to weapons bed. This level is a great time. You get to feel like a real Hellraiser in this one. We're actively just trying to cause harm and destruction to everything in our path, and the game throws lots of robots and fighter jets and other shit at you to blow up. The music even makes you feel like a badass going up against an entire military force alone. Eggman's level themes have an industrial edge to them with the percussion and synths and stuff, but still have this hard rock vibe overall. Like your dad's a Warhammer 40k nerd, but he still has like love and hate tattooed on his knuckles and 2 domestic battery charges, so he makes you go to the Walmart to buy beer and cigarettes and Guns N' Roses CDs for him, so his house arrest anklet doesn't go off. Weapons Bed is the type of level that's really fun to run through quickly too. I think Eggman's stages are all winners, honestly. Even Sand Ocean is fun to go back to after you get the hover upgrade.
Oh, Sonic! I thought I'd never see you again. I'm so glad you made it.
Fuck, Amy. This guy hasn't been hugged by somebody in fucking years. Look at him. Okay, I understand gun agents and normies mistaking Shadow for Sonic, but come the fuck on, dude. Did you take an edible or something? What is happening with you? I like seeing Tails come to her rescue and stuff, though. That's sweet. Tails hits Eggman with the old,
I'm right here, you fucking fat cunts. I'd like to see you fucking try it, dude.
So close. Better luck next time, Fox Boy.
Like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with people. Why the fuck everyone's gotta have so much fucking hatred towards me, dude?
Man, I remember Security Hall giving me some trouble when I was a kid. That 5-minute timer was just a tad too strict for me to deal with, but it's one of my favorite Rouge levels now. It's actually one of the easiest levels in the game, I feel like. If you're constantly moving, you're gonna find the Chaos Emeralds really quickly, because there's really only 2 areas to explore, like in Wild Canyon and Dry Lagoon. This level's song always makes me feel like a cool spy, too. I love flying around and listening to this shit, and laughing at Rouge's stupid H-cups bouncing around in the wind. What were they fucking thinking, genuinely? I like that Rouge gets her own boss fight against a variation of the Walker Mechs. Makes me feel like she gets to sit in one of the big boy chairs with Sonic and Shadow. Her fight is actually slightly harder because she doesn't have a homing attack and this thing doesn't like to sit still, so it's easily the best version of this boss fight in my eyes.
This is Rouge. I've got a small problem. I can't believe that I'm trapped inside this locked safe with a Chaos Emerald. I guess I won't be able to call myself a treasure hunter anymore.
Fuck. I hate when girls die. So Shadow's obviously fucking traumatized from watching Maria Robotnik die. We still don't know exactly what happened or why it happened, but he's hell-bent on vengeance against the entirety of Earth for the loss of Maria. So this is the first time we're seeing Shadow do something that doesn't really serve his master plan of revenge. He just met Rouge like a second ago and he's going out of his way to save her. He has no reason to do this that serves his master plan. And before any of you comment, what if he just thinks she's hot? I don't really think that's what's going on here. I think Shadow has the Ryo Hazuki gene where he doesn't really know what sex is. White Jungle's music is fittingly a jungle track. I really appreciate Fumi Kumatami. Jun Sano and Tomoyo Otani and the other people on the music team all killed it too. But she poured herself into the Shadow and Rouge themes in this game, and I can picture the shit-eating grin she probably had on her face when she decided to make a jungle track for the jungle level. Shadow's themes all have this cybergoth industrial techno edge to them, with lots of glitchy, distorted percussion and androgynous alien vocals performed by Everett Bradley that also shed a lot of light into his perspective like the Knuckles tracks do for him. I've always kind of read this track as being like a PTSD nightmare for Shadow. Like these words are a mixture of Shadow's own thoughts and things that Gerald or Maria has said to him in the past. This part here feels like he's trying to convince himself that he's fine, cold, unfeeling, not totally scared shitless that he's gonna have to experience losing someone like he lost Maria again. And this part here always read to me like it was stuff Gerald said to him during experiments and testing in Sonic's youth. I'll probably get a bit more into that later. Fuck me. I'm showing you lyrics on Genius and pointing to them and going, I think it means this. This video is a fucking disaster. White Jungle is maybe my actual favorite level in the game, actually. The music and the timer definitely add a lot, like Green Forest. It's one of the most intense parts of the game for me, and I always, without fail, feel so fucking cool running through this one. As a kid, I remember feeling so amazing after finally beating Security Hall, and getting to come here, seeing a cooler version of Green Forest was so huge for me. I love the fog and the rain, unmatched atmosphere in my opinion. It's just as fast-paced and exciting as its sister level, but with a cool, slightly drearier vibe, which still appeals to the little fat goth Hot Topic kid in my heart.
Hey, that's...
That blue hedgehog again, of all places.
Oh my god, Sonic, not now. I don't have time for this shit. I like when we get to see a slightly different version of a cutscene from Hero Story and Dark Story and vice versa. It really adds to the experience, enhances the new context we're experiencing these events in.
Shadow, what are you doing? Hurry and get back here right now before the island blows up with you on it!
Blows up?
Chaos control!
Okay, now, when I was a kid, I thought this was the coolest thing I had ever seen in my life, but now I still think it's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life, but also I laugh at how constipated Shadow looked.
Shadow, what do you think it's like on Earth?
Shadow's having another flashback about Maria when Rouge interrupts
Why
him.
so melancholy? That was so unexpected. So unlike you, Shadow, to come and rescue me.
You know, I didn't come to save you. I came back for the Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah, but then again, that's not the whole story, is it?
Everything is ready to go!
Are you sure? We only have 6 of the 7 Chaos Emeralds, you know.
That's more than enough for the demonstration. So let's get the show on the road.
Let's get this blow on the low. Alright, time for filler. I think they didn't really have enough material for the Dark Story, so they needed to have some time where Shadow and Rouge are kind of twiddling their thumbs. So we get another fucking car racing level with Rouge in her penis-shaped car, and Shadow gets a level where he follows Tails for some reason. Which is fine, I don't care what the justification is, as long as I get to play through fun levels. And Sky Rail is really fucking fun. I love hanging out around all the spooky Pumpkin Hill stuff in the daytime. This is the only level in the game that looks like this, and there's actually quite a lot of weird ledges that we can spin dash off of. It's a pretty short level, but I like it a lot. I don't really care for the music though. What the fuck is this shit, Mr. Sano? You did not understand the fucking assignment. This is not a brooding, melancholic goth anthem like the other Shadow tunes. What did you call this shit anyway? Oh, motherfucker. How did you know my fucking high school nickname?
Tricking that old doctor is just too easy. Alright, it's time to get to work. The password is Maria. Maria? I've heard that name somewhere before. Oh well. This is it. Research Project Shadow, the ultimate life form. Let's see now. What in the world is this? This can't be right. Just what is Shadow, anyway? I guess I'll just have to take the last pieces of the Master Emerald.
I know I'm on a top secret mission for the president and discovering deeply important shit, but oh no, it's time to make the funny red guy's blood pressure skyrocket again for shits and giggles. Mad Space is maybe the most controversial level in the game, and look, I love being a shitlord contrarian sometimes, but even I have my limits. This level is just Meteor Herd, but a lot worse. I still probably prefer it to Egg Quarters because I like how huge and open it is, but the problem is this bullshit gravity mechanic where Rouge will get sucked towards these planets, and it's a huge pain in the ass to get away from them. I don't hate this shit as violently as a lot of you guys do, but it's not a level I'm terribly fond of. Aw man, do you think they called it Mad Space because it makes you mad? They should call Meteor Herd Glad Space then. And hey, at least the music is awesome as usual. This is what it sounds like in my head when I accidentally make eye contact with a beautiful Mexican lady in her 40s when I'm at the post office. Eggman's final level, Cosmic Wall, is incredible mostly for taking like almost 10 whole minutes to get through, but barely feeling like it every time. This and Meteor Herd are the only levels in the game that fuck with the gravity in a fun way. When you use the hover, you float upwards and it's super fucking fun. This level is also like the polar opposite of Eternal Engine for Tales, where you're fully encouraged to just go nuts and unleash on everything in sight. It's really cathartic. It's one of the most fun mech levels in the game, and it does an excellent job making you feel all powerful and shit. I especially love these sections where you're on this moving rail contraption, and you get to just lock onto everything and destroy it all. Final Chase is another kinda controversial level to my understanding, and I think I can see why. Its high points are high, with it basically just being more Final Rush, but there are also these gravity tubes that Shadow will automatically rotate on when he's caught in their pull. I like these things conceptually, but they're a little janky and buggy, and you can definitely die in bullshit ways because of them. It's never been a thing that's bugged me to the point of having any vitriol towards this level. I still basically enjoy it about as much as Final Rush, but I get why this one's less popular. I think they kinda knew this shit wasn't really working the way it was supposed to as well, because this level has like a million checkpoints to make up for it. Ironically, the second half of it is a lot easier than the first half because the focus goes back to being about rails. It's still not quite as good as Final Rush because Shadow doesn't get the bounce bracelet, which is really unfortunate because it's one of the most fun parts of Sonic's moveset in this game. But in my opinion, still a fun level, and flying around in space kicks ass, even if they were probably kinda running out of steam by this point in the game's development.
I thought that capsule you were in exploded in space.
You know, what can I say? I die hard.
So, there's more to you than just looking like me. What are you, anyway?
What you see is what you get. Just a guy that loves adventure. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog! Alright, Shadow. Time for me to finish this.
I failed. I told you, I'm the ultimate.
Still really love this boss fight a lot, and that's a wrap for Dark Story. It's quite a bit shorter, and the exciting parts in the plot are a bit more spread out than in Hero Story, and Shadow only gets 4 levels, but it's still a great fucking time. If you play this yourself, I definitely recommend starting out with Hero Story, but you could have fun playing through this whole game in whatever manner you want. All in all, I really have nothing but adoration and respect and love for this game. Everything about it makes me really happy. The characters all having different styles of music is still so fucking cool to me. All these young Sega musicians just being into wildly different types of shit and wanting to share it with everybody. I'm eternally grateful for them because it opened me up to different styles of music as a kid, and it helped to jumpstart my passion for it in a huge way. I love music because of Sonic the Hedgehog. I've brought this up like 300 times during this video because it's still the coolest shit ever to me. Everybody always brings up the Sonic games always have good music thing, and they're mostly right, but man, this game soundtrack specifically is still a standout in a series renowned for its amazing music. I have to kneel. Also, since I'm realizing I haven't talked about Tails' music, his themes are similar to Sonic's with a lot of electric guitars, but his tracks are a bit more subdued and all feature really moody synth leads. Kinda feels like a reflection of Tails idolizing Sonic when he was younger, but growing into his own strengths as a person. The synth parts representing his mastery of technology and computers, and also his determination and zeal. Alright, it's time to play Last Story. Let's finish this shit.
What's that vibration?
Hey, wait! Someone is coming!
You haven't given up yet?
No, it's all over for us.
What do you mean?
I just received a message from my boss. This space colony Ark is currently approaching the Earth at an incredible velocity. It probably will impact Earth.
What's that on the screen?
Gerald Robotnik was executed by the state, and his execution video starts playing on loop on every screen in the Ark and on Earth as a result of all the Chaos Emeralds being placed into the Eclipse Cannon. Gerald Robotnik programmed the space colony to crash into the Earth if the Eclipse Cannon was fully activated. Shadow knew this was going to happen, and this was his plan all along. Eggman finds Gerald's final diary entries, and Rouge reads them out for everybody.
I don't quite know what happened or what went wrong. Was it a mistake to create the ultimate life form? I thought it would be something that would benefit mankind, but then the military guards landed on the colony that day. They were sent to destroy the research project that I had been working on. My colleagues at the research facility, my granddaughter, Maria, I hope you are all safe. The colony was completely shut down, probably to keep the prototype from falling into the wrong hands.
The Ark was shut down under the premise that there had been an accident. I found Maria's name among those who died when the Ark was shut down. She meant everything to me, and I couldn't bear the thought that she died because of my research. I lost everything. I had nothing more to live for. I went insane. All I could think about was to avenge her. Somehow, some way. I got scared as I no longer was able to control my thoughts. All I could think about was that I wanted it all
to my understanding, Gerald Robotnik was living on board Space Colony Ark and was tasked by Gunn to create a lot of fucked up experiments, including weapons of mass destruction, experiments in gene splicing, and chiefly Project Shadow, which was essentially a demand for the creation of an immortal life form that could be used as a weapon by the United Federation. Gerald secretly was running experiments on these immortal life form prototypes in order to find a cure for Maria's illness, which was basically the Sonic universe's equivalent to AIDS. No, I'm not kidding about that. Eventually the government got antsy and decided that this experiment to create the ultimate life form could get out of their hands really quickly. So they sent a bunch of soldiers up to the Ark to destroy everything, kill everyone on site that didn't immediately comply, and report to the media that some kind of accident had happened to keep people from looking into it. They killed most of the scientists on board, and Maria was killed while she was helping Shadow escape. Fucking fast forward 50 years and we get to when Sonic is running around in San Francisco listening to Red House Painters. It's really sad too. Maria had no memories of Earth. All she wanted to do was experience what life was like down there with other people, and she wasn't ever given that chance. It makes sense that Shadow wants to destroy the world, especially if Gerald had fucked with his memories in any way to basically follow the protocol he instilled in him after she was killed. The group decides that they can try to use the Master Emerald to stabilize the Chaos Emeralds and stop the Ark from crashing into the Earth. So we get to play one last level with all of the characters. Tails and Eggman are first, and it's a pretty standard affair for both of them. They need to destroy some barriers so the rest of the team can continue forward, and there's some time-stopping switch mechanics that are kind of fun. Rouge and Knuckles have to swim around in this orange Fanta and hit switches to swim through currents, and I'm really grateful we picked up the air necklace back in Aquatic Mine, or else this shit would be really frustrating. Finally, Sonic makes his way to the core in a pretty cool level with lots of crazy visuals. I love all the waterways and weird cubes flying around and shit. It's really cool. Amy finally decides that it's her time to shine, and she attempts to talk to Shadow.
Shadow, we need you. Please help us.
It's all going according to plan. There's no reason for me to help them. Besides, there's no way to save anyone.
There has to be. I know that people fight over the most trivial things. Some people may be selfish, like the professor said. But they're basically good if they try their best and never give up on their wishes. They always have a reason to be happy. That's why you should help them out. Saving them is a good thing. Shadow, I beg you, please do it for them. Give them a chance.
Shadow, I beg of you, please, do it for me. For
Maria!
a better future. For all people who live on that planet, give them a chance to be happy. Let them live for their dreams. Shadow, I know you can do it. That's the reason why you were brought into this world. Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Shadow finally remembers what Maria's actual final wish was. Gerald distorted his mind and programmed him to act out his plan, but he finally has the clarity to help everyone to stop this from happening and the desire to see it through.
What's that? It looks just like the shrine of the Master Emerald.
They probably designed the core like the shrine to harness the power of the Chaos Emeralds.
All of you ungrateful humans who took everything away from me will feel my loss and despair. All of you ungrateful humans who took everything away from me will feel my loss and despair.
One of Gerald's prototype ultimate life forms escapes containment and starts screaming and shit, and Shadow comes in to fight it.
I'll take care of this while you run to get the Chaos Emeralds.
The Biolizard is pretty horrifying and uncomfortable to look at, with it being hooked up to life support and its fleshy gill-type things pulsating and shit. This boss fight is really fun though. It's like an even better version of the King Boom Boo fight. You can't get too close to either side of it, and you've gotta wait for it to get tired to grind up its life support wiring to hit its weak point on its back. Eventually these pink flesh orbs start flying out of it, and you've got a homing attack up there to hit its weak spot again. And it's just a really good, intense boss fight. The theme that plays here, titled Supporting Me, is one of my favorite songs in the game too. Its production is amazing and pushes the distortion present in some of Shadow's previous songs up to 11, and the lyrics portray that Shadow has finally accepted reality and understands what he needs to do to fulfill his promise to Maria. This is the best fucking video game ever made. Knuckles uses the Master Emerald to stop the Ark on its crash course, but then the Biolizard teleports outside of the space colony and starts pulling it towards the Earth manually. So Sonic and Shadow have got to do this funny animation and go out there and stop it. And it's not the most fun boss fight to actually play, but it's super cinematic. And Live and Learn is one of my favorite songs in a Sonic game, period.
Hanging on the edge of tomorrow. Live and learn.
It's that fucking riff, man. I go Super Saiyan when I hear this shit. And it's the perfect song to summarize Sonic the Hedgehog as a character and as an idea. Sonic and Shadow use Chaos Control to warp Space Colony Ark to a safe distance away from Earth, and they successfully save everyone. But Shadow falls to Earth, presumed dead, presumed to have sacrificed himself for all the people of Earth, and that's genuinely how the game ends. I'm running out of time here, I don't want to drone on too much, but Shadow is one of my favorite characters ever. When Shadow isn't clouded by Gerald's influence, he lives in service of others. Everything he does is in service of others. When Rouge finds him later, at the beginning of Heroes, the first thing he does is save her from danger. When a demon shows up later to warn Shadow of a future timeline where he is hated by humanity and imprisoned because of their fear of his power, he tells it to shut the fuck up and saves the world from it too. Everything he does to help other people. In the Shadow the Hedgehog game, in the level select, these words pop up in the menu, barely legible but still there, still present throughout the entirety of the game. Shadow, please make everyone happy. I don't want to talk about my personal life too much, but growing up I found a lot of comfort in Shadow the Hedgehog as a character. I started working full-time as a young teenager to help my parents make rent every month and to provide food and toys for my younger siblings. I had to grow up fast, I had to be an adult really early, and I always felt like the reason I was put on Earth was to help others, to help my loved ones. I may have somewhat resented this at some point as an angry young man, as a depressed teenager, but characters like Shadow the Hedgehog and Klonoa and Raiden and Zero helped me feel like I was living my life in a noble way. I'm turning 30 years old now and I still currently work a lot to provide for my loved ones. It's something that I take pride in. It's something that means a lot to me. And I don't really know why I'm bringing this all up other than to share that this game still touches my heart in a way that few things do. It's a game that helps remind me of who I am and who I've been. I still try to live my life in a way that helps and serves my loved ones. Shadow lives in a way that serves everyone around him. But the most important thing is that that is his choice. He's not being told what to do by his scientist dad or his alien dad or his friends or anything. He decided at the end that he wanted to help people, to save people. And I think that it's really cool that we all get to live our lives in the ways that we choose too. I didn't have a choice when I was a kid, but I have a choice now. Maybe you played this game when you were a kid and you've grown past it now. Maybe you look back on it and joke about it being mid with your friends or something, or maybe you don't even think about Sonic anymore. But this game is still here, and it will always be here when you need it. This game made me feel like I could be a hero, like anybody could be a hero. This game reminds me that people need me. Anyway, that's the whole fucking game. Holy shit. You can unlock Green Hill Zone to play through if you get every single emblem, which is fun, and the multiplayer is really great if you have a buddy with you and a spare controller. Metal Sonic is fucking broken, by the way. He's so much faster than Sonic and Shadow, can jump almost twice as high. He makes funny sounds when he does the pyramid shield thing. I like that a lot. Sonic Adventure 2 is just a game that I love to death. The characters are all so cool and lovable, and it's always fun to play through the levels no matter what kind of stuff I'm going through in my life. This game was there for me during some of the best and worst times I've ever had, and I'm sure I'll continue to play it for as long as I'm alive and able to hold a game controller. This game is the ultimate life form, to me. Thank you for sticking around if you made it to the end of the video. I'm sorry it was so fucking long. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and if you give Sonic Adventure 2 a try, I hope it connects with you and makes you smile and stuff. See you next time.